Raised by Wolves is just like, what the man? What the is this show even about?
What the fuck is going on?
Well, dear viewer, it isn't about one thing. It's actually about all the things. It's about family. It's about the difficulty of parenthood, repressive religion, the role of artificial intelligence in humanity's future. It's about peace through violence, a generation of kids raised by technology, the cyclical nature of life from death, and the cynical nature of in-groups and out-groups. It's got symbolism. It's got symbolism, and it's got symbolism. It's inspired by the Roman Genesis story of Romulus and Remus, who were literally raised by wolves, and presents an alternative reality where worship of the Roman god Mithras displaced the emergence of Christianity and worship of Jesus fucking Christ. This is a dense show, and different episodes drive different themes across a 6-lane highway, dedicating sometimes entire episodes to distinct ideas, and gives it all some quieter moments to just let it breathe. I feel like so many people have different takes on what the show is about, and every time I hear someone say, well, it's actually about this, I'm like, yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that, because this show is not about one singular thing. To say it is would be a disservice. It would undermine all the reasons that this can and should resonate with a wide audience. But on this channel, I like to focus my content on analyzing media through a specific lens of film theory to uncover more prescient human themes that exist within the films and shows that I love. And when it comes to Raised by Wolves, I have a particular interpretation which I'll build to here at the end, but to get there, I want to talk about it all first. To begin this analysis, let's first talk about war. War teaches us a lot about groups. In a time of war, certain morals and values are prioritized over others, and you can see which ones are actually the most important to a group or a society in how they treat themselves and their enemies during war. What kinds of actions do we consider noble or dishonorable during wartime? How do we treat prisoners of war that we capture? What strategies do we employ to ensure internal loyalty? What words do we use to describe our adversaries? What I like about the show is how it depicts the factions. You have this colony run by sentient robots, specifically the android father and his counterpart mother, who was built as a literal weapon of mass destruction but was reprogrammed to be a parental figure, and whose mission appears to be raising the next generation of humans off-world to make a better future for mankind, abstaining from religion to ensure that the children are present and focused on the here and now. They're raised atheist because apparently religion is what destroyed Earth. It's what led to war. Their adversary appears to be the Mithraics, a group based on a real ancient Roman cult that, in this parallel reality, replaced Christianity as the major religion on Earth. Consequently, it acquired comparable customs. Say that 10 times fast. Consequently, acquiring comparable customs as a clever caterpillar cartwheeled over cars. Jesus Christ. I give up. I'm starting a tongue twister YouTube channel. You can go ahead and just follow me there. It's going to be called the C Word. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Fuck me. Don't forget to like and subscribe on this channel though, please, and thank you. What I'm trying to say is they developed similar rituals to Christianity as we know it today. Anyway, the two forces are so diametrically opposed from the time that they meet that practically every meeting between the atheists and the theist groups, ends in violence. In these moments of tension, Mother demonstrates her titular inner wolf, demonstrating how harmful and destructive technology can be in the effort of shielding her atheist children from the religious zealotry of the Mithraics. As a result, the show addresses a contemporary theme that is more relevant now than it ever has been, probably, in history: identity politics. Identity politics refers to the inclination of people of a certain religion or race or social background, whatever, to form exclusive in-groups and out-groups. And an in-group is a social group that a person considers themselves to be a part of. An out-group, on the other hand, is the other group. It's the group that isn't like us, the group that symbolizes the beliefs that we reject and is frequently portrayed as the quote-unquote enemy. In-groups frequently unite in mutual contempt for the out-group, resulting in actions of favoritism towards individuals that we consider to be one of us, while out-groups are met with an equal measure of discrimination. However, what tends to be the basis for this type of group homogeneity isn't always as important as the groups may make themselves out to be. And over time, we begin to attribute negative and reprehensible beliefs towards the out-group that help keep the in-group loyal. And we do all this without objectively trying to understand or even reflecting the group's true philosophies. In some of its quieter moments, Raised by Wolves actually begins to deconstruct the concept of identity politics. We get the impression that what divides these groups isn't so much their everyday beliefs. They share comparable rituals and moral attitudes on justice. They're both trying to survive and maintain the human race, and they're both willing to go to violent extremes to ensure their own safety. They even share a common goal: safeguard the children who represent humanity's future. And when the atheist cavalry appears on the planet in full force during Season 2, we realize just how strikingly alike these two factions are. The atheist side is not depicted as the scientific, stoic, pragmatic community that Mother has been preaching to Campion, the lone survivor of the original 6 children. And he begins to suspect that the truth about what's going on this planet lies somewhere between the beliefs of both factions. He entertains the Mithraic belief system without completely abandoning the principles that he learned as an atheist. And the atheists are equally violent, divided, and dogmatic in their commitment to a more powerful force as the Mithraics are. The Mithraics obey the will of the unseen deity Soul, who appears to judge any who dissent. Similarly, the atheists also follow the will of an omnipotent supercomputer, which employs brutal methods to ensure group conformity. Both parties obey the will of an unseen greater power, and you could argue that the armor is essentially the same, but with different colors of paint. What truly separates these two groups isn't their values, their habits, their moral codes. What separates them is merely their label, or more aptly, their identity. And what creates these identities is simply who they profess to believe in. The all-powerful, all-knowing God Soul, or the all-powerful, all-knowing computer known as the Trust, which, by the way, is an interesting name to give it because trust and faith are nearly synonymous. And every other difference that they have kind of falls out of that. And it all illustrates that regardless of group, creed, or identity, the human experience is characterized by a desire for purpose, and for that purpose to be represented in some sort of authority figure. In the universe of Raised by Wolves, and in our own world, opposing groups develop a blind devotion to a higher order that vilifies dissent and reinforces collectivism. Yet the things that separate us may not be as polarizing as we think. Sure, there are some black and white issues that are very difficult, if not impossible, to reconcile. But even so, it's a shared belief in some common values such as liberty or fairness that gives rise to division in the first place. And if we can try to identify what those values are, and we can begin to root our dialogue in those shared beliefs and give an honest attempt at seeing the good intentions of others, however misguided they may be, we may be able to take the necessary first steps to bridging the divides that exist in our world and safeguarding humanity before the cycle becomes exponentially more destructive. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Media Matters. I know it can be very difficult to be nonpartisan. Your in-group will call you a fascist or a communist, and that'll deter you from even entertaining the very notion of goodness in the other side. But I don't think that's the way forward. I think there are certain issues that are black or white. I think there are certain beliefs that we need to get on the same page about, but I also think that there's room to have disagreement. And if we can get there, we can start doing the work that we need to do as a society to be better. So anyway, thanks for watching. I do a lot of videos. Like and subscribe if you like this one. Some of them are a bit more upbeat than this, so check them out.